Hello, I'm Angela Pike, and we want to welcome you to Lakewood, where we are hosting Safety Day, where Bonnie Jolly, Sue Ann McCandless with the Extension Office, and several other volunteers are teaching our students how to be safe around things such as firearms, water, electricity, dogs, chemicals, ATVs, and many other things.
Hi, my name is Ryan. His name is Ryan. And his name is Owen. Today we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that we use at our job and explain what we do. We all work for Nolan RACC, and we distribute power to your homes, to your schools, to the hospitals. So how many people have iPads or iPhones that they play on? All right, when the battery goes dead, what do? You got to charge it, right? Well, we send that power to your house so that you're able to watch TV, get on the computer, charge your iPads, have lights in the house, things like that. The main thing we want to get across to you guys today is safety. And that being said, if you ever see a power line down in the road or at your house, down in the yard, you want to stay away from it because it's very dangerous. You could get hurt or injured real bad, okay? So if you ever see a down power line, you either notify the closest adult, your parents, and they will call 911, or they will call Nolan, or they'll call KU, because KU is another company that does the same thing as we do in the same area. So number one rule, when you see a down power line, you go tell the closest adult, okay? And you stay away from it. What do you do when you see a down power line? Stay away from it. That's the number one rule we want to get across. Today we're going to talk about some of the tools that we use on a day-to-day basis, on how he's able to climb the pole, some of the stuff that we use for protective equipment. The first thing I'll go over is we call them rubber gloves and sleeves. By show of hand, can anybody tell me what these are for? Yes, sir.
Me?
Yes.
It stops electricity because any rubber or glass stops electricity.
That's exactly right. They're non-conductive. And these are to keep me and my coworkers safe when we have to work on an energized line. This is so we don't get hurt. Let's pretend that this wire had electricity. If I'm holding it right here and I'm on the ground, is that good or bad? That's bad. Okay. Now I'm going to let him. Now if he's holding it, is it okay?
Yes.
That's exactly right. He's protected. And you notice that they're yellow, they're real bright colors, and that is for crew leaders that are on the ground. They're the boss. They're running the crew. So when he's on a pole or up a bucket, it's kind of hard to see up there, right? I can't see exactly at the top of that pole. But I can see that he has his rubber gloves and sleeves on because they're bright and yellow, and I make sure, it's my job to make sure that he protects himself. So if I look up there and I don't see yellow arms, that means, hey, you don't have your rubber gloves and sleeves on, I need you to come down and get those. But he's able to hold this wire and work on it at the same time while it's energized. You guys see the wire that's in his hand? Okay. Just so you guys have a visual, these are some of the wires that you will encounter at home. This feeds your house, okay? So if you ever see it on the ground, what do?
Stay away.
And?
Tell
an adult. That's exactly right. But this is the majority of the wire that you will see on the ground. But if you see any of it, you stay away from it. It's dangerous, okay? Can you guys see electricity? No, you can't. So you don't know if this wire has power on it or not. So when it's laying on the ground, you can't assume that it's dead and it doesn't have power. You always assume that it's energized. You stay away from it. See it? This is the stuff that feeds your guy's house. This is called secondary wire, and what he has and I have is called primary wire. This is what carries the big voltage. And this is the small voltage that feeds your house. Teachers, can I have one volunteer? All right, does anybody notice what I'm wearing and my other co-workers are wearing that's safety? Yes.
Helmets.
Hard hats, that's exactly right. We all, whatever job we're on, we always have to wear hard hats. What's this hard hat doing? Yes.
Protecting you.
Protecting me, because if he climbs up the pole and drops something and I'm standing around the pole, what could it hit if he drops it?
Your head.
That's exactly right. So we always have to wear a hard hats. Y'all see anything else that we're wearing?
Yeah. Safety goggles.
That's right, safety glasses. Protect our eyes. Notice we all three have them on, right? So now we're going to do a demonstration. And you're used to holding pencils and stuff, right? You should be good with small stuff. Okay. So every day when we're out working on the line, we have to wear our rubber gloves and sleeves. And that's to protect us. But once you put rubber gloves and sleeves on, it makes it really hard to grab small things. And if you could only imagine when it's 95 out with 86% humidity, yeah, you take them off, you'll end up dumping the sweat out and putting them back on to finish. But if you guys watch, this is something simple, right? All I'm doing is putting a nut on the bolt. I'll let you take it off.
Okay.
You should have no problem taking it off.
Perhaps. I don't know how good I would be at this with like just my bare hands.
She's doing good, right? Yeah, she's doing pretty good. I think you could be a lineman.
Oh no, I'm afraid of heights. It takes forever though.
Because it's so, like, hard.
I know, and you can't like rotate your hands like you're supposed to.
And you don't.
And like my fingers are like way down here.
And you have
My hands are
gloves
small.
Oh, time out.
Oh.
Now,
Did that fall all the way to the ground from way up high?
absolutely, but you would have a guy send it. I'll go through that. We'll send it back up on the hand line. But now she's dropped something. It's easy taking it off. Now we got to pick it back up. Let's see how good she is at picking it up and putting it back on. She may do great. We don't know. She got it.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Nolan's handing out job applications if you want one.
No, this is not for me.
I'll show you a trick. Hold it. Now that you've already got it on, take your rubber glove and just spin it. There you go.
Man, I'm a professional.
Hey, she did really good. Not everybody does that good on the first try. Everybody give her a round of applause.
Here you go.
You want to climb next?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
I don't like heights at all. But thanks for the offer.
You guys see Owen there? Big tall guy? He's got a bunch of equipment on, right?
Yeah.
Does anybody know what that's for? Yes, sir.
Climbing.
Climbing. That's so he can get up there and fix a problem, or we may be building something new and he's got to get up there and do some work. So he has special tools on that helps him do that. See these? These are called gaffs, and this is what allows him to climb the pole. You guys see that sharp tip?
Yeah.
Well, it's on his feet, and this sticks in the pole as he's climbing each foot. That's exactly right. It helps him walk around the pole. It helps him climb up the pole, down the pole. Without these, he could not get the job done.
He could slip.
That's exactly right. He can still slip with these on if he don't do it right. We'll see. He's a new guy, but I trust him. You can go over the belt if you want.
Little catch-all bag here, and this is you put this around like a drill or an impact tool, something like that.
This is so when he's working on the pole, if he drops anything, this will catch it from falling all the way to the ground. So if he accidentally drops it, this will catch it and he can just pull it back up to him. And it's multiple tools. We use it for all kinds of tools. You guys see this belt? See, it has a circle. What do y'all think goes in that circle? Yes, ma'am. Tools? I'm gonna go with the pole. So all this stuff comes apart, all these carabiners, and he straps this around the pole. Okay? Then he'll snug it up and tighten it up so the pole goes in here. Why is he wearing this belt? Yes, sir.
So whenever he's climbing, he don't fall down.
That's exactly right. He can still fall a little bit, but only probably about 2 feet before that belt squeezes the pole and it won't let him go down any further. So back in the old days, they didn't have any fall protection. And this is what we call this. So that's why the utility industry was high on fatalities, because people were falling all the time. OSHA gets involved, they regulate things, and now the state of Kentucky is 100% tie-off at all times. And this protects him from falling. I won't climb without it. No, you're not allowed to, but some people try it. I won't do it because this is I want to go home to my baby girl, my baby boy. Okay, so now I'm going to send him up a pole and show you guys how we climb. He's also going to take a hand line with him, and what we call a hand line is he'll hang it on the top on the pole or something, and so if he needs a certain tool or he forgets something, we'll use that hand line and I will pull it up to him. I'll show you guys how it works. Now that all that's said, what's the number one thing I want you guys to take from today? Anybody know? Yes, ma'am.
Stay safe.
That's exactly right. If you see a down power line, stay away from it. What else do you do?
Go away from it.
You stay away, and then what else? Yes.
You talk to your parents and
Tell your parents. What else?
talk to an adult.
Talk to an adult, and they will call 911, NOLIN, or KU, either one. All right, Owen, you ready? Take it nice and easy. All right, y'all see Owen? Yeah. Wave at him. Wave at him, Owen. Okay. So now he's to where he can work. And what if you're working on something that you can't really reach because you're tied to the pole? He has to be able to get in different positions and lean out to reach stuff off of the pole. Lean out for us. See, he'll rotate, he'll lean one way. Now you're going to rotate toward us and look at the crowd. See how he's moving on the pole? All right, now he's got to work on something on the back side of the pole. Good job. Now he has to lay back as far as he can, and he's got to put his hands out like this just for you guys to see. He usually won't do this in the field, but is that all you got? Can you get out there farther? Yeah. Look at that. Y'all think y'all can do that? Yeah. y'all give him a round. All right, you can get back into the pole now. Okay, so we're going to pretend that he's working on something. And at this moment in time, he realizes he needs something that he doesn't have up there with him. So, you need a fuse? All right, we're going to send it up to him. So this is how we transfer material up the pole for him to work. So he needs that. He'll take it off, place it wherever it needs to place. And let's say he's got the old fuse that's bad and he wants to send it down. He'll do the same thing. He'll attach it to the hand line and he'll send it back. You can come back down. Hey, I tell you what. Kick out of your belt. Watch this. Watch his belt. He'll take his feet out of the pole and his belt will hold him. It makes him a little nervous.
Faith in that belt, I'm telling you.
Well, they're rated for a lot more than what he weighs. But yes, we do every day. That's just the nature of the job. We signed up for it and we're okay with it. But you guys see how he's hanging there? His feet's not even in the pole. He looks like a koala bear. That's right. All right, you can get back on the pole. All right, come on down. So now his job is done. He's going to come down the pole nice and safe. Whether you guys have underground or overhead, there's a transformer that you're hooked up to that feeds your house, just like this school. This school has a transformer that it's hooked up to. But everybody here has a transformer at their house. That's what feeds the power homes, hospitals, schools. And all they do is they step the voltage down so that you're able to use it on the inside. There's too much voltage on the primary lines. On a day-to-day basis, it depends on if it's new construction or it's pole change outs. So if there's a broke pole, the wire is already there, and sometimes it's still energized, and we have to change that pole out with the wire being hot so that you don't lose the power at your house. We try to keep everybody on all the time. Now, there are certain situations where it's unsafe to put guys up around it, so we'll kill the power. And yes, we catch flack for it, but it is what it is. I'd rather everybody go home to their families versus try to do it so somebody's working from home. You know, they can take 2 hours from it and come back to it. I'd rather them go home. But on pole change outs, depending on the severity of the pole, you probably max 4 to 5 a day if they're 3-phase poles, and that's moving. If it's new construction, we set, you can probably set 13, 14, 15 in a day, new construction, but that's because there's nothing around, the wire's not energized, and the guys could just boom, 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 roll on. But storm scenarios, not one job is ever the same. It's always different. So you just got to kind of look at it, see what you got to do, and attack the situation from that point. So sometimes it may be a 30-minute fix, sometimes it may be a day and a half fix, because there may be 17 poles broke in a row. The safest thing you could do, if you're in a vehicle and the power line is down on your car, there's a certain way to exit the vehicle. You can't just get out and start walking, okay? And everybody says, well, it's got rubber tires. What's inside those rubber tires?
Air.
Metal. There's metal inside of them. So you can either, when you get out, 2 foot on the ground, and when you walk, you can slide and keep your feet on the ground, okay? If you walk normal, you get hurt, electrocuted, or something. So you either have to slide, just like this, keep both feet on the ground, or hands to my side and you hop. But I've got to, if you,
Number one is to stay in your vehicle. Unless it's on fire, it's not safe to do so. Then you want to try to exit the vehicle.
Okay.
that's right.
Both feet need to hit the ground at the same time.
At the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to hop out of your vehicle as well.
Hop.
Hop. Both feet. When you leave that vehicle, you don't want to be touching that vehicle and touching the ground.
Okay.
You can't
Okay.
get out while you're touching the vehicle. You hop out of the vehicle. Hey, you're welcome. Thank you guys.
How many of you guys want to be firefighters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe over here. Maybe I can change. Maybe in the back. Maybe over here. Maybe. I like it. I like it. So my name's Tom Galbo. I'm a firefighter with Stevensburg Fire Department, and I'm here to talk to you about fire safety and kind of what we do. These gentlemen over here are from 84 Fire Department, right up the road. And who can tell me what you should do if there's a fire in your house? First hand I saw was back here.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Only if you're on fire.
Yeah, if you're on fire, stop, drop, and roll.
If you're on fire, right here.
Get a wet rag and put it over your mouth.
Over your mouth, and what else other place you do with a wet rag? Under your door jamb, right? Very good. Back here in the back?
If you can, escape the house and then call 911 if you cannot escape the house. But your main priority is to get out of the house.
Excellent. Get out of the house as fast as possible, right here.
What if you have a fire extinguisher? Also, I'm pretty sure if it's a grease fire, you don't use water.
Use baking soda.
If it's you use baking soda on a grease fire, that's very good, because if you put, what happens if you put water on a grease fire? Right here.
So first thing, you might want to have your door closed.
The grease fire gets bigger, right?
Explode. Not that. I was talking about something else.
Okay, what was your other thing you got?
It was, you might have to have your door closed, and if you are on fire, you stop, drop, and roll. You want to have your face covered.
Cover your face, correct. And if you're in there, you close the door to your room, correct, and stay in your room, don't go out. What else? Back here.
If you have pets and they're near you, get them out too.
Get their pets out too. That's a good thing. Yep. We actually carry oxygen masks for pets to help them out. What do you do once you're in your room and you've got your door closed and you put the wet rag under the door jamb to keep the smoke out? What do you do before you exit the room if you can't get out your window?
Call 911.
Call 911, yes. What else do you do? Back in the back.
Look for a way to get rid of the fire.
You don't really need to do that. If you can, then you can do it, but you really need to get away from it. You have to touch the door. Make sure the door is not hot. If the door is hot, the door handle is hot, you don't go out that door, right? And you guys are all old enough to know that you don't play with matches, right? No matches, no lighters, right? Because fire can burn anything, right?
You don't have any windows.
You have no windows and you can't get out. You try to make sure that you got the door closed and you wait until the firefighters get there. We'll get in there and get you out.
What if your window is like 2 stories up?
If your window is 2 stories up and you can't get out, you open that window and you yell out the window so somebody knows that you're in there. And then we have these ladders on the back of the truck on the other side that we can come get you out. You keep the door closed, you put that towel or blanket underneath the door, and you hide under your bed, because we know, firefighters know when we come in to search under the beds and look for you. Get to the safest place, get by a window, if you can get the window open, but you stay as low to the ground as possible, because the smoke stays over the top and the good air stays at the bottom. Right here.
What if you can't get anywhere?
If you can't get where? If you can't get wet rags, you use whatever dry rags you can, and that'll try to keep as much of that smoke from coming under the door so you don't get sick. Okay? All right, anybody know what this tool is right here? It's a saw. Yep, absolutely. And we use this saw if we have a fire in a garage, and we can cut right through the garage doors. We can use this to take bars off windows or access cars. Cut into car doors, any kind of metal we can cut with this. We also have this device, it's called a TIC. We call it a TIC, it's a thermal imaging camera. And we're gonna pass this around so everybody can see. This helps us to locate where the heat is in the house. It also can look through walls and determine if there's heat on the other side of the wall, and it will show us if there's a person there. And when you point this particular camera at the person next to you, they're going to show up and you'll see the heat in their body. So we'll pass that around. All of our firefighters wear helmets, and these helmets are fire resistant. Like I was saying earlier, nothing is fireproof. Once it gets to a certain temperature, almost everything will combust and will catch fire. But our outfits are fire resistant. And while you guys are passing that around, we're going to have a junior firefighter here. Once you guys turn 16, you can become junior firefighters and you can come out and learn how to become firefighters. So our bunker gear, it's also called turnout gear. And our firefighter right here is going to go ahead and demonstrate. We're going to give him, you have to get in this bunker gear on air in 2 minutes or less. Let's see if he can do it. Anybody think he can't do it? You don't think he can do it? All right, let's find out. And we got a timer over here.
Okay, never mind.
And we're going to say, ready? Go! What he's doing is he's putting on a Nomex hood now. That Nomex hood will keep his hair from catching on fire and will keep his ears and the back of his neck from burning. These bunker pants have special larger pockets that we can keep different tools in, and those tools can help us to access fires, keep doors open, access doors. Some of us carry flashlights. He has a flashlight, I believe, on his helmet. In order to become a firefighter, you have to be able to put this particular gear on in 2 minutes or less. The mask he's going to be putting on will help him breathe normal air so that all the burning materials that cause gases that are poisonous for us to breathe, he'll be able to breathe in a fire environment. And the mask will also keep his face from getting burned. Now he's going to put the Nomex hood over the top. He's going to turn his air on. That's what that beeping is. So if that beeping sound that you hear, if he was to run out of air or he was to fall down on the ground, we have a system called the PASS system. The particular system that's there will allow us to locate that fire in a completely dark, smoky environment. And we're going to demonstrate that. So once he has all this on, we'll show you how that works.
I am your father.
All right, there we are. How long did it take him? 1 minute and 27. He's pretty consistent. All right, so now what he's going to do is he's going to stand there for a minute, and this system's going to start making a beeping sound, and that beeping sound helps us to locate the firefighters if they get in danger or if they run out of air. So we'll give it just a second. While that's getting ready to go off, we'll talk about a couple other tools. There it goes. So that sound will help us locate those firefighters. Go ahead and shake it, turn it off. All right, so what is this, guys? It's a specialized axe. They call it a pointed axe, and we use this to make entry to buildings. We use this to chop down trees sometimes. If there's a tree on fire, we may have to chop it down to get it out of the way. This tool and this tool are used for if we have a fire in your attic. We'll use these tools, either one of them, to go up there and poke a hole in there so that we can shoot water into the attic. And this is a tool that we can use to stick up there and pull the ceiling down. So if there is a fire up in the ceiling, we can pull it down and get more water on it to get it put out. So anybody know why we use water? Tell me in the back of the green.
Because water will put out fire.
Water does put out fire. Yeah, water expands and causes steam. And the steam helps us to put the fire out. And the other reason why we use water is it's cheap. If we could use bubble gum to put fires out and it was the cheapest thing to use, we'd use bubble gum. But water's the cheapest thing to use, so we use that, right? This is one of our extrication tools. It's a hydraulic tool. This is a spreader and a cutter. It can be used to open up doors on cars or to break into cars like that. What's your question?
If it was a grease fire, how would you be using water? Wouldn't that make the fire bigger?
It would make it bigger. However, we use foam. We have an additive that we put inside the water. If we know that we have a chemical or a grease fire, we add foam to it, and then that foam engulfs the fire and puts it out.
I think there's something else that goes to that too that can open like elevator doors.
That actually can open an elevator door. We can put that right in there. We'd use this tool to make what we call a purchase point. We make a hole, then we enter the edge of this tool in there, and it can spread those doors right open.
If you don't have service on your phone, are you able to call 911?
If you don't have service on your phone, all phones are mandatory that the phone companies have to let you call 911 in case of an emergency. Absolutely.
I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Marcus Bowling. I'm a conservation officer, or better known as a game warden. What do you all think that I do for a living? Yes. Water is part of my job. That's exactly correct.
From doing stuff that ain't in season and all that.
That's exactly right. And we're talking about hunting, right?
Trapping and all that.
Trapping, hunting, fishing, boating. So I'm actually a police officer, but I specialize in what I do. I take care of anything boating, fishing, and hunting to make sure that you all do it right and follow the rules and regulations. The main reason I do that is so that when you grow up and you have kids and grandkids, they got a place to hunt and fish, things to catch, and places to go boating, okay? Out of the three things that I do today, we're going to talk about water safety, okay? What do you all do, or what does your parents make you do when you first get in the car?
Buckle up.
Buckle up. Do you even remember buckling up, or you just do it?
I just do it.
You just do it. You don't even think about it. What do you think that would be called when you do something you don't even think about it? What is that? What is a word for that?
Habit.
Habit. It's a habit. Life jackets. Do we have seatbelts? How many of y'all been in a boat? If you haven't been in a boat, I promise you, you're going to be in a boat sometime in your life. Does a boat have seatbelts?
No.
No. So our life jackets are the seatbelts in the boat, okay? That's what we use as a seatbelt, and we need to get in the habit of putting it on and wearing it anytime the boat's moving. How old are you all?
9.
So you all have to wear a life jacket by law when the boat's moving anyway. Until you're 12 years old, you have to have a life jacket on when the boat's moving. All right? Today we're going to talk about the 4 things to make a life jacket legal. There's 4 parameters that make a life jacket legal for you. If all of us were in a boat together, each one of us would have to have a life jacket. When I would pull up to the boat, I'd say, hey, I need to check your all's life jackets, and each one of you would hold up a life jacket, okay? And we're going to do some demonstrations. You come up here, Bubby. You come up here, you come up here, and you come up here. All right. If we don't ever want to have a boat accident, but if we do have a boat accident, where should our life jackets be when we have a boat accident? On you is the best place. If it's not on you, you need to be able to get to it, and then you need to be able to put it on. Now, what would we think would be a safe time in a boating accident to put a life jacket on? Just guess. What would be something you'd say time-wise? What do you think? Huh? Yeah, time-wise. Like 30 seconds, a minute? How fast should we be able to put a life jacket on? 2 seconds would be perfect. Anything less than 5 seconds, hop down there. Have any of y'all put a life jacket on before? You have?
Yes.
So you're professional, correct?
I have.
All right. Listen, we're going to hand them a life jacket, and when I say time, let's see how long it takes me to get it on. You all put your life jackets on. If you don't know how to put them on, do it to the best of your ability. Don't hurt yourselves. Then when you get done, stop, okay?
It's like one of the easiest.
All right. Just hold it here for a minute until I get ready to clock you. All right. All right. Let me get one more.
A little while. Mine's huge.
Yours is huge. All right. Here you go. All right. So let's time them, okay? All right. Y'all have got a minute. Like we're going overtime. A minute to put them on. So get started. Go. You got a minute. Remember, we've had a boat accident, so you need to get this done quick and in a hurry.
My mom and dad only make me put one on.
Only make you what?
They only make me put on one bucket.
No, we'll talk about that. All right. You get it on, Flopsy? You going to get it on? We're about 20 seconds. You're eating water. You better get it on. You going to put it on?
Like a backpack. On the front. I never tried one of these.
35 seconds. We're still eating water. 1 minute. We're calling it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Is it as easy as you thought it would be?
Yeah.
Y'all carry a backpack to school?
You gotta zip it.
Do you change it out every day, or do you use the same one?
Same one.
Life jackets. When you find a life jacket that fits you and is right, you take it with you wherever you go. If you come boating with me, you bring your life jacket because you know how to put it on and you know how it works, okay? It goes with you where you go. You good? You're done.
Oh.
Don't hurt yourself. Just hold it like that and stay. All right, it's been a minute, all right? 2 things happen when we have a boat accident. 1, you get back in the boat, or we get back you to safely on shore, or 2, you become guppy food, okay? So we're going to talk about this. What's your name?
Henry.
Henry? You know how to do a pirouette?
No.
All right, you got to put your hands on top of your head and you got to spin around. Let your class see you. Do we think Henry is going to be guppy food, or do you think Henry's going home with us? That's good. You're going to get yourself dizzy.
Going home with us.
Going home with us? Anybody else?
Come on, Henry. Guppy food because he'll slide out of it real easy because it's too big.
Right. Listen, when you have a boat accident, this happens and you cannot stop it. The minute you hit the water, Your arms go straight up. Happens every time. You'll never be able to stop it. Hold your arms up, Henry. The next thing that happens is when the water hits your life jacket, it immediately wants to come up. Now, where is Henry's life jacket?
Awesome.
Not on Henry, right? So then what's going to happen to Henry?
He's gonna drown.
The guppies are going to be chewing on his feet, ain't they?
Good thing
Why did it come off of him? Yes.
because it was too big.
Too big, that's exactly right. So Henry, open your life jacket up and just hold it there for me. And come over here and stand over here.
Okay.
Do it in a second. Name?
Bella.
Bella. Do your pirouette. Come over here and do your pirouette for your class.
Spin like Henry did.
Don't trip over the thing. All right, what do we think about Bella?
Nope.
What's wrong?
It's not even. Her head's like sinking in.
What else do we see about it?
There's this rope that she can step on.
Hold your arms up there, Bella.
About it.
Hold your arms up straight.
It's not even.
Okay? Now look here. Have you ever put a life jacket like this on before?
No.
Okay, now let's put this on her right. All right. Give me this arm. Now look, we're sitting here having to adjust this, right? And remember I said when you find a life jacket, it needs to go with you. This is why, because if you get in my boat and something happens and I throw you one of my life jackets, what's the chances that this going to fit you right? What's the chances? Slim to none. All right, I've tightened this up. The next thing you want to do is tighten it up even tighter. The tighter you have this, the better. Now, am I hurting you, Bella? Not going to hurt you. All right. When you go to the store and you pick up a life jacket to try it on to make sure it fits, after you get it on, get your family member or your friend to come behind you and pick up on it. If it touches your earlobes or your chin or the bottom of your nose, it means it's too big and you need a smaller size. So what do we think about this one?
Big.
It's too big. She's still going to need a smaller size. What's something else that you notice on Bella's life jacket that's different than the rest of them up here?
It's like it goes like around her. The belt.
What about this? Do you see this on every one of them?
No. That's a pad.
Which one do you think is the prettiest? The orange one or the purple one?
Purple.
Purple. Even though this is ugly, this is probably one of the safest life jackets, okay? Because this neck roll, if you get knocked out and thrown into the water, not every time, but most of the time, this life jacket's going to turn you back up so your face is up. And what, can we breathe water and live?
No.
No, so it's good. Here's another good thing about a life jacket. So this is our seat belt, it protects us, right? A boat does one of two things. If a boat hits something, it either completely stops or it changes direction. You don't have a seatbelt on, so where do you go?
Flying.
You're going to keep going the direction the boat was going, with or without the boat. Next thing is, the only thing that's going to stop you is if you hit the water or you hit something else. This, if Bella hits something, protects what? What's in here that we got to have to survive? Lungs and heart. Those are our vital organs, okay? So it protects our chest. Very good, Bella. All right, take yours off and just flip it around and hold it. Name?
Zach.
Zach, do your spin, Zach. You can do it right here. Just spin around. What do we think about Zach?
You don't have it zipped up and he has it on backwards. Yeah. You don't have it zipped up.
I'm afraid our brother Zach may be guppy food. Zach's not only that, he's got it on inside out. So let me see, Zach. So, Zach, you all come, yep, you can stand here, stand over here where everybody can see you. Hold your life jacket out like that. Flopsy, do we even need to just let Flopsy spin around and know about her?
No.
You got it, Zach. So, hold that like that. Now, last one, what's your name?
Presley.
Huh?
Presley.
Presley? Do you spin, Presley? Do you want me to spin you?
No. I don't like
Spin. So Presley, what do we think about Presley?
it's gonna not.
There's nothing to even buckle it to her, right? All of these are personal flotation devices or life jackets. This is a throw cushion. It's only meant for throwing. It's not meant to count for you a life jacket. So if I pull up to the boat and I say, show me your life jacket, and you hold this up and be like, nope, that doesn't count. Now, everybody hold their life jackets open. On the inside, hold them inside out. What do you all notice that looks the same on all these? What's it got on it? It's got instructions or a label, correct? It tells you information, okay? This says a throwable device, so it's throwable. All of them are going to say, to be legal, must say Coast Guard approved. If you pick one of these up and it doesn't say Coast Guard approved, doesn't count. And there are life jackets out there that didn't say Coast Guard approved. The little demonstration we did with everybody, besides being Coast Guard approved, what else would be another regulation that would make a life jacket legal, you think? It must what? Support you, or a better word, fit. It's got to fit you, okay? This life jacket right here is adult super large, okay? It's not even going to fit me. So you can't hold this up and go, this is mine. This life jacket right here,
For a baby.
that's right, because you see the word on it? It says infant, or up to 30 pounds, okay? So they all tell you something. So when you go to the store and you get them off the rack, start reading the labels and it'll give you an idea of like, yeah, this is going to be for me, this is not going to be for me. Then you're going to try it on and have somebody pull up on it like I said. All right? Let's see that. So 2 things we know already by law. They got to be Coast Guard approved and they got to fit us. Y'all can sit down if you want to. There's 2 more things to make them legal. There's one big word that's called readily accessible. All readily accessible means is that you got to be able to get to it quick and in a hurry. So if I pull up to your pontoon, I say, show me your life jackets, and you pull this up, is that going to be easy for you to get to?
No, sir.
No. So it doesn't count. You may have 10 life jackets in here, but it's not going to count because you can't get to them quick and in a hurry. That's right. And if you wear it and you take it off when you stop, it's going to be where? Right beside of you. If you pull this up and show it to me, what's wrong with this?
It's for a baby and it's broken.
It's ripped, there's no buckles, so it doesn't work, it's not functional. So if it doesn't function, it's for the trash, okay?
And it's for the baby.
That's right, that's exactly right. So try your life jacket on, make sure that it meets all the requirements, and then put your name on it and take it with you wherever you go. If you get on your friend's boat, you take your life jacket. You get on my boat, you take your life jacket. It travels with you, okay? All right, now, let's do this. So remember we were talking about the throw cushion? Come up here with me. Come here. So I'm out here in the water and I'm in trouble. I need something that floats. Throw me that life jacket. Did that go really good? Did it fly very good? Now throw me this one. Just don't knock me out. Throw it like a frisbee. Toss it like a frisbee. If you're throwing a frisbee, throw it like this. Grab it like this and throw it to me. Which one does better? That's right. If I'm right beside the boat, yeah, lay a life jacket down there to me. But just remember, if you got to get something out there to somebody, this works better. The wind will catch them and you won't be able to throw them 2 feet. Thanks, Flopsy. You sit down. This is a throw bag. Tell your parents or whoever you're with that's got a boat to get one of these. They're not very expensive. They're real simple to operate. They've got rope in them. This one's got 75 foot of rope. But you pull out the rope, you're going to step on this part of it and hold it because you don't want to put it around your wrist in case something happens. And you toss the bag to whoever's out in the water and then you reel them back in, okay? What would be another good thing to tie a rope to on my table? What would be a good thing to tie a rope to? What? Not a life jacket, but what else? Throw cushion. If you get in my boat, I've got 50 feet of rope tied to my throw cushion for the same thing. So when you throw it to somebody, you can reel them back in, all right? So give me the 4 things to make a life jacket legal. What's one? Yes. Has to fit you. What's another one? Has to say Coast Guard approved. What's a third? Very good. It needs to be functional, but that's also another good point. If you've got your life jacket on and it's not buckled and zipped, it doesn't count. okay? Like if you're under the age of 12 and you've got to have your life jacket on when the boat moves, if it's not buckled up and zipped up, it's no good. It's just like not having one on, because what's going to happen when you hit the water? It's going to fly off. So we got functional, it's got to fit, and we've got Coast Guard approved. What's our last one? The one, the big long word. Readily accessible. It's got to be close for you to get your hands on.
What happens if you have none of this equipment and you fall out of the boat?
If you don't have any equipment, it's not going to be good. Even if you're a good swimmer, like if I go to the lake or the river and swim, I wear a life jacket, because you just never know what's going to happen, okay? It's not like being in a swimming pool where you can see the bottom and know what's going on. All right, wear your life jacket and put it on just like a seatbelt. Get in the habit of wearing it, okay?
My name is Mason. This is Jacob. On this side, we've got Lindsay and Bridget, and we're going to be sharing with you about lawn safety, basically everything that you'll need for lawn equipment safety, and then also just some personal choices you can make to protect your skin and hearing and vision and those types of things during a lot of interactions. We have a lot of neat equipment that we're going to go over with you today. It's all cool looking stuff. But the thing I want you to take from this is that none of the things that you're seeing here are toys. So whenever you're using them or you're around someone who's using them, you have to respect that these were made for a specific purpose, and not one of those is ever just to play with. Too much danger, too many risks. We're going to start off, and I'm going to turn this over to Jacob. He's one of our new Kentucky State University 4-H agents. I'm an A&R agent. Lindsay is an A&R small farm agent, and then Bridget is another one of Kentucky State University's 4-H agents. So we're all going to share some things with you. Hope that you sit back and enjoy. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions, so wait and we'll give you opportunities for that. But I'm going to turn it over to Jacob, because in addition to working for KSU, he also has experience managing work crews, but also operating a lawn care business.
So if we go back here and we're going to mow that hillside and we have a flat tire, it'll be good if we go this way. But once we start going up that hill, it's going to start putting more pressure on that side of the machine, and it can actually flip over on us. Okay, so let's say that flat tire happens while we're mowing. Okay, they put safety features on here so we still don't get hurt, but you have to know how to use them. So this is called a rope system, rollover protection system. So, but this is only good if you're buckled in. So Mason will get up here and he'll show you how to be buckled. So let's say Mason gets on that hill and he's taking all of his precautions, but this machine still flips. Maybe it's slick, maybe something hits. So if you see this angle there to that deck is where this mower will catch. And his head will be safe, it'll lock him in place, and somebody can either come help him or it'll be holding itself enough where he can get off of here and still be safe. Okay? But that's not the only place on this safety that is important on this mower. So you can see these do not come stock with a bunch of them. That's an added on. That's an additional charge out of your pocket. But is that probably the way that needs to be? No, you're correct. So they do this, a lot of commercial guys or residential people do that, so the grass isn't piling up on the side. But when we flip that up, then the safety features of this catch, it's supposed to keep the grass low to the ground and pile it up so it don't hit people or bystanders. Well, when I flip this up, it can hit somebody up in their face or anything. It can throw it up at a pretty good angle with these blades spinning, okay? So that we don't want that. So we want to make sure that stays down. We want to make sure we check all the tires on it and everything. And also, there'll be some of you, and I don't want for you to tell me, there's probably some of you that may have ridden on a mower before with somebody. That's not totally safe, especially if you're on this deck, because everything that's turning these blades really fast is right under that deck. So you could easily, your clothes could be pulled in or anything, and it could make it really dangerous and really hurt you. So, we're going to go right here. Does anybody know what this is? Yes. Yes, it is a rear tine tiller, okay? So sometimes here in Kentucky it's going to be easy to use this, and sometimes it's going to be pretty hard. And you're going to be pushing up against it. Well, let's say if you're not wearing the right equipment, maybe you're wearing flip-flops, maybe you're doing it barefoot, anything like that, you could easily have your feet pulled in there. And if it didn't cut them real bad, it could easily bruise them, break bones and everything. And it could leave you, possibly handicapped for the rest of your life just from that little mistake. So we want to make sure no matter which piece of this equipment we're using, we're wearing boots, we're wearing something, possibly even safety toe that's going to be hard enough to where if it hits our toes, it'll keep them intact, okay? All right, so does anybody, maybe you don't have one of these, but maybe you have a push mower. Do you have a push mower? Okay, well somebody probably, okay. Well, these are can be really dangerous too. They can be just as safe as the person who's using them. So, this is really easy. Sometimes these are hard to push. Sometimes you may not like doing them. You get up on a hill, maybe you want to pull it behind you. Let's say that hill gets slick, your feet slide. They could easily slide under this machine. If you cut them, it could really hurt you, okay? And then for the rest of your life, instead of just taking time and doing it the correct way, you have to struggle with that for forever. So on here, the same kind of thing. These will have a catch on them. A lot of these, you can put this bag system on there to catch the grass. Well, if it's really tall, it's going to get clogged up and it's going to start going back up under that deck, okay? So if it does that, you're going to have to clean it out. But when you clean it out, you have two options. You can either do like this. Do you think this is the way it's supposed to be so this stays running? No, it's not. However, a lot of people do this and it's not good because that means if you ever slide or anything, if I slide and I let go of this, the mower stops. But if I slide and this is on there, it'll never stop. And then it's really dangerous. It could start rolling and I couldn't even catch it. So on here, this is going to start going in. You even see people leave this down and starting to clean out that grass. And still, they could get their hands cut really bad. It could really hurt them, okay, if you go and do that. So the best thing, no matter which piece of this equipment is, you need to make sure, first off, you shut it down and make sure everything stops before you ever work on it. Because those 5 or 6 seconds it cost you, it could cost you in your lifetime a lot more, okay? So, as we've talked about, this is the same kind of thing. It's got a catch on there. It's raised up. So that needs to stay down so we're not throwing things at other people. And make sure everybody's clear of where this is going to be throwing grass out. So as we go through all of this, make sure you're wearing your safety. You know, you want to wear long pants to protect your legs and boots to protect your feet. And then these ladies over here in Mason will talk about some more of the equipment that you have to really protect yourself in the future years.
We're going to transition into that in just a second. I want to point out one other thing on the large mower over here. If you look down by Jacob's feet, what do you think those plastic things are? Anyone? Somebody else want to take a stab at it? What do you think those pieces are? Ghostbusters. They have warning signs on them. They say no step. However, they are designed to cover all the pulleys and belts that are spinning really fast. Look down at your feet right now. How many of you have shoestrings in your shoes? What do you think happens if a shoestring gets down into those pulleys? It could pull your shoes off, and that's if you're lucky. If it doesn't pull your shoe off, it's going to pull your foot down into there. So very, very dangerous. So when you're working, footwear is important. I think we already mentioned that wearing good shoes is important, but make sure your strings are tied. I know it's the trend a lot of times to not fully tie your shoestrings or tie them very tightly, but that's really important. As third graders, you may not be operating things that are quite like this, but I bet you're around people who are. So that's where you've got to use your mind a little more. You need to have your biggest and greatest tool at work, and it's not one of the garden tools over there. It's that tool that's between your ears right here. You got to use your common sense. Okay, these ladies are going to share with us some other common sense things that we need to do about protecting ourselves, whether we're using the large self-propelled power equipment, the handheld power equipment that we will compete with, or just being around individuals who are.
So first we're going to talk about some protective equipment. Does anybody know what this is and what it's used for? Orange sweatshirt. What do you use safety glasses for? What does it protect? Your eyes. So these are way more special than the glasses that you wear every day because they're a lot harder. They have round edges and they also have these side covers. So when you put them on your face, you're going to cover all around your eyes. So if you kick up a rock from any of these tools, any grass comes up in your face, this is going to protect your eyes. These are very important. Now we have this face shield. This is going to be just as protective for things coming into your face, but now it's going to cover your entire face just like this. Now we're going to go on to ear protection. Who knows what these are? Men in the front. They're like headphones, but they cover something else. Red sweatshirt. Yeah.
Like when you're mowing or something and your ears hurt, you can put those on?
Yeah, they're called earmuffs. So they're like headphones, but the earmuffs, they can protect your ears from noise. You don't want any hearing damage. Also, another thing that can protect you from hearing damage is these little ones. Yeah, orange sweatshirt. The earplugs. Same thing as with these little pink ones that don't have a strap. Those are going to protect you from hearing loss, hearing damage.
So next, we've got really fortunate this afternoon. The sun has come out. Doesn't it feel nice? Okay, but when you're out in the sun doing any kind of work, any kind of activity, you want to make sure you're protected. So one of the first ways to protect yourself is by wearing a hat. The bigger the better, y'all. Okay? It's going to keep shade off your shoulders, your face, your neck. It's going to protect you. Even just a regular baseball cap works and is really well. Another thing, sunscreen. I know many of us hate it, you don't like it, but it's here for a reason. It's protecting you. It's to keep you from getting burned, blistered. So you need to make sure you're using it as you're supposed to, like the directions say. And also protect your lips. Your lips can get sunburn as well, so you want to make sure you're using sunscreen on those also. Another thing you want to look at is if you are mowing and there's traffic around, lots of people around, just in general, a good safety rule is to make sure you have some kind of a safety vest, bright neon colors. That way traffic can see you, other individuals can see you, and you're not going to get lost in the background of what you're working in. And another essential thing is just make sure to have some kind of a first aid kit around you close by. You know, if something does jump up and cut you or hit you, or heaven forbid you have an accident, you want to make sure you have the proper materials to make sure to cover it until you can get help if need be.
I'm going to shift over and remind you of one thing that we experienced a lot over the last couple of years, and it is protecting ourselves from germs, but there is a particular thing that we can use that will also protect us from dust that we're bringing. How many of you remember wearing one of these quite often? We went about 2 years where we were wearing these masks, right? And for many times people thought, oh, I can't breathe in one of those. Well, we figured out that we could. We didn't like it necessarily, but we found out that we could. And a lot of times when you're working in dusty conditions, in the spring, it's pretty moist, so we don't have a lot of dust. But when you're mowing or working around this type of thing in June or July or August, sometimes it is just a dust cloud. So wearing something like a mask or even just a bandana over your nose can help with that. But we're going to talk about, the first one is the weed eater. And these things turn really fast. Technically a weed whacker, they have a lot of things that people tend to take off of them for various reasons that take away a lot of their safety. So Jacob, would you take that for us and share with us?
Yes. You want to make sure you're keeping those guards on here at all times, because this is spinning fast to cut that grass, and you can walk just about as fast as you want to, and it'll still keep cutting just like a mower. So you got to understand, if it's swinging that fast, it can also pick up rocks and throw them. And this is a lot easier to throw them back at you than even on a mower. You know, most of the time on a mower, it could be somebody that's next to you, but on this, you could hurt yourself. So you got to make sure you're wearing that kind of safety equipment.
And the next one we're going to talk about picks up a lot about gravity. You guys have had science class, right? Yeah. You've heard of the word gravity? In other words, what goes up must come down, and it usually can come down kind of violently. Now Jacob's going to demonstrate how when you're cutting a branch, the only thing that is between you and the branch hitting you is how it's attached to the tree. Once you sever that, what's going to happen, Jacob?
You're up like this, it could hit you. If I'm cutting towards Mason, this saw's going to eventually come down because it's resting on that branch, and the branch will go towards him. So this is not only just about you, you got to make sure, because he could be on his phone, maybe he didn't know that I was cutting right above him, you know, and this could easily fall and hit him or hit me. So you got to make sure, if you're going to question it, should I do this or not, the answer is no. You'd be better off just to do it safely the first time and not regret it later.
A couple other tools we're going to look at are hedge trimmers and leaf blowers. Neither of these are toys either. They look like they're fun to play with, but you got to realize when he takes that shield off, those blades are reciprocating back and forth, okay? They are meant to cut through sticks as big as my finger, and if it will cut through a stick as big as my finger, guess what else it will cut through? Your finger itself. And as you're hedge trimming, you often get really close to the plant and you brace yourself, because that's quite heavy, isn't it, Jacob?
Yes.
And if you're bracing yourself by putting your leg out, you are exposing your leg closer to the blade. So you have to think all the time. It is definitely not a spectator sport. Leaf blowers, on the other hand, I'll be honest, anybody ever played with one before? Chased your cat or your little brother or sister? Okay, the air coming out of those can be anywhere from 180 to 220 miles an hour. Okay, if there is a stick or a little pebble or something like that, even a dust particle, and you blow it into their eye, it can be very dangerous. Okay, so you just have to be cautious. None of those things are toys. The last things that we're going to look at on the table over here, anything that is designed to cut something off, to poke holes in the ground, to pull weeds, all of those potentially have some danger. Even the most simple of tools like a machete, when you are swinging that to cut grass, if it has a serrated blade on the other side, when you bring it back, anyone who's near you could be hurt. You have to be careful anytime you're using these things. The thing that one of the things we'll close with is one of the more powerful things we can use. What is this?
A power washer.
It is a power washer, at least the nozzle from it. This is attached to a machine that has over 4,000 pounds per square inch. It literally, I'm not making this up, if it has a 0 degree tip, and you get too close to your foot, it will definitely take the skin off, but it can also cut a toe off. So power washing is not a water sport. It's not something to be done in flip-flops or old tennis shoes. You have to be careful when you're working with things like that. Now, the thing that we want you to part with is recognizing that safety starts with what you do up here. If it seems dangerous, chances are it is, and you need to avoid it. If it's something that you feel like you still need to do, or a piece of equipment, you need to be trained on it, and you need to be old enough to be able to physically handle it. As third graders, you may not be ready for most things that are up here. But as you learn and as you're taught properly, don't lose sight of understanding how to do them properly and safely.
Dry and roast, and then grind up and make a drink like coffee. Okay, and actually I did that and it was actually pretty good. I was surprised that it was good. And this poor thing, it's a May apple, and it's kind of very wilty. So you see, some people call these umbrellas in the woods. All right, so it's really common, and the fruit of it is edible. It's got a real round fruit, and it'll be ripe later in the year. But this part, the leaves, the stem, and the roots, and particularly the roots, are toxic. It will make you very, very ill if you eat them, right? So it's really important to know the parts of the plant that you can eat. Right? In this case, it's just the ripe fruit. So this is purple dead nettle, which you see growing on the hillside. Yes. It is really, really common. And I had not even paid any attention to whether this was edible until a young lady earlier today told me that they were eating it. So I looked it up, and it is in fact edible. Although I didn't think it very tasty. It's kind of fuzzy, so usually you would use it in a stew or a soup. How many of you have run into this in the woods? Yeah. All right, so this is greenbrier, and it grows as a vine across the woods and makes it hard to walk. and you can rip your legs open pretty quickly with it. But if you look, this thing is just starting to put out some sprouts. So the young tender shoots that comes off this stem are very tasty. All right, so they're really, you can tell that they're tender enough, they're really floppy, and you can take them, you can eat them raw, or you can take them and saute them in butter. They're really, really good. So this is one of the things as far as plant safety. If you're going through the woods that you're not familiar with, you know, take your time, because if you go fast through this can really carry you up. This is white pine, and you can make a tea out of the noodles, which is good. Some pine trees, you can eat the inner bark. You can eat the seeds out of some of them. Have you ever had pine nuts and stuff? Those are the seeds of a pine. But the thing you have to watch out for is on some of these saps, they're really sticky and they can get in your hair and get on your clothes and stuff. But some people are allergic to the sap. So if I get sap on me and I leave it there for a long time, like I forget that I've got it on my arm someplace and it's there for a couple days, I'll break out in a rash. So it's important to make sure that you get clean and that you're aware of that could be a problem. This is a red bud, all right? And on red bud, you can eat the flowers. So you can collect those flowers and add them to a salad, but pretty good that way, right? So what other flowers do you eat? Most of us have one of these. How about broccoli? Yeah, that's a good. That's a flower. Yeah. Mushrooms are one of the wild edibles that are really, really good, but you got to really know what you're doing, because if you get the wrong mushroom, it can kill you, right? So make sure that you're with somebody who knows what they're doing when you're collecting. But there's the morels, there's oyster mushrooms, there's chanterelles, there's puffballs, there's chicken of the woods. There's several different mushroom types out there that are really good, but you got to make sure you've got the right one. All right, so why do you think I might pick up a pair of gloves to handle this? This is poison ivy. All right. So if there's one plant that you need to know how to identify, it's this one. Okay. Poison ivy grows in the woods. It grows in your yard. It can grow in the garden. It grows all over the place. So this one I picked up from the tree right between your campus and the middle school campus. There's a big white pine completely covered with poison ivy. Poison ivy can grow as a vine on the ground. It can be a small shrub about this tall, or it can grow up the trees and look like the branches of the tree. Okay, something really to watch out for.
That's one of the safety aspects of it. But for the safety aspects of it,
the bigger stems, if it's growing up a tree, can have roots and look really furry. The leaf, it has the 3 leaflets. But one of the things you should do is once the leaves come out this year is get with somebody and get a book, look on the internet, and see if you can identify and find it. So what happens if I brush against poison ivy?
You're gonna get a rash.
Right, I get a rash and it itches. Now the thing, how long does it take for that to happen?
Like a season.
Yeah, so for most people it's 1 to 3 days. So if I get into it, I won't break out for 3 days. So in order to protect yourself from it, if you get in it, what you need to do is immediately wash with soap and water, right? But so if I don't break out from it, I don't know that I've been in it for 3 days. By then it's too late to do that. So I need to make sure I know when I'm in it to wash up, right? Really scrub down with soap and water. The other thing with poison ivy is if I'm walking through poison ivy, right, and I take my clothes and I throw them in the laundry, and then my wife comes and does laundry, what happens? She's going to get poison ivy. She'll get a rash. And then what happens? Then what does she say to me? Right? She's unhappy with me because she's gotten there. So what I know is that every time that I go out in the woods, when I come home, my clothes have to go straight into the wash. Right? Because the oils from the poison ivy are in the clothes. Right? Now, what happens if you go wandering through poison ivy and go and throw your pants in the corner of the room and in a month decide to clean your room and pick those clothes up.
You're gonna be like second.
Right, yeah, so then you can get poison ivy then too. So just because you've had them laying around doesn't mean you're not going to get it. So you need to make sure you get those clean, put those all in the laundry.
Like it becomes strong.
Yes. And the other thing with this poison ivy, this looks like a stick, but right now it can still give you poison ivy. Even though there's no leaves, you can get it from the wood and the sticks, so just be careful. So the one thing we didn't talk about is, so you say you wanted to collect those dandelions in that field. Did you just go out there and eat a dandelion? Okay, what might be the problem with that? Well, that might be a problem, but if you say you like dandelions, what do you think? Yeah.
There might be like ants.
Could be ants. The big problem is you don't know what people have done to that field. Has it been sprayed with an insecticide? Has there been something nearby that's polluted that field? So before you just go out there and start eating things, you need to know what's happened to that area and try to wash that off. Okay? So ask somebody before. So what have we talked about? The important takeaways are, number one, what? Make sure you know what it is before you put it in your mouth. That's definitely number one. How about number two? Yeah, wash anything that you're going to eat. Wash it first. And the last thing? Yeah, so watch what you're doing, but the other thing is poison ivy. Learn poison ivy. Okay? I wish I had some leaves to show you. But that's the one plant that you can get in your garden, in your yard, in the woods, anywhere. Right?